Good evening and welcome to the Final Call News Hour. I'm your host, Herman Muhammad. The Final Call News Hour is the partner of the Final Call newspaper and the Final Call online edition that you can visit at www.finalcall.com. The Final Call newspaper is the most widely circulated black-owned and operated publication not only in this country but in the world. It also serves as the communications organ for the Nation of Islam. The Final Call News Hour is produced by the Ministry of Information under the direction of Brother Corey 2X. The Ministry of Information was born from the Millions More movement, which was launched in October of 2005 in order to ensure a future for all of our people. The overall mission of the Final Call News Hour is to give an alternative source of news and commentary to our viewers. This is needed because although it is said we live in a free society with freedom of press, all of America's major media, both print and electronic, are owned by 5 major corporations, which amounts to a monopoly on media. So programs like the Final Call News Hour are vitally important to our people in the dissemination of information. Now, the issue that we're dealing with this evening comes out of volume 27, number 16, which reads, King's Life and Legacy, Civil Rights Leader Fought for More Than a Dream. All right. Now this evening we have a action-packed, power-packed hour of dialogue with 2 hard-hitting soldiers, 2 activists in the community who I respect, both of them very, very much. To my far right is an activist, poet, rapper, all-around brilliant brother, Brother H2, Hashim Hakim. Welcome to the program, brother.
It's always a pleasure. I can't wait to get started.
Yes, sir. And to my immediate right, a brother who really needs no introduction. He hosts a radio program on 1390 KGNU. He's an activist as well. Brother Shareef Aleem, welcome to the program.
Thanks for inviting me, Brother Herman.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Now we're going to jump right into it. As I mentioned, this particular Final Call, the cover article deals with Dr. King, and we're just on the heels of the celebration of Dr. King's holiday. I think it was the 21st anniversary of his birthday being recognized as a national holiday. And we had a parade here in Denver.
A mirage.
A parade, which is I guess a mixture between a march and a parade.
Correct.
And Denver used to have one of the biggest in the country. I think it's scaled down a little bit.
As soon as corporate America get involved.
Right, but
Slave Farm, Budweiser.
which leads to my first question. What are your thoughts, some of your thoughts on the parade here in Denver? Brother Shareef, you already jumped in, so we'll start with you.
It's a joke, man. It's a joke on the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King and everything he stood for. See, the powers that be, man, understood a long time ago that when a black man rises in the community that other black people respect, they have to if they can't beat this person, they co-opt the person. And how they didn't co-opted Dr. King, man, and it's sorry to say that his family, man, is somewhat responsible for this too. The commercialization of his image. You know, you go to King Supers, you see a picture of Martin Luther King up there. You know, you go to the post office, they got the Martin Luther King stamps.
Yes, sir.
You know, Budweiser got a picture of Martin Luther King up on their advertisement. So, you know, what is this saying, man? You know, corporate America and white people in general, you know, that took Martin Luther King, man, and co-opted his image, co-opted his dream, and then turned it into a damn nightmare on us.
Right.
And it's a trip, man, because I remember back in the day, man, when we used to go out to Martin Luther King Fest, and us entrepot Negroes was out there with the Malcolm X shirt and the Martin Luther King shirt, and it was black people out there, and they was buying it. And the brothers used to have the big medallions, the Malcolm X medallions. And it was more of a black pride, man. And this was at the time when the Ku Klux Klan was challenging our right to be out there. So the black community had more togetherness when it came to going out there. Now you go out there, it's a corporate event. Instead of the brothers out there selling the Malcolm X and the Martin Luther King shirts, you got State Farm. Like a good neighbor. State Farm wasn't there for the brothers and sisters down in Katrina. They still ain't there for them. And this is who they get to sponsor the event. You know, Budweiser, King Supers, you know, that beat up Sister Lori McCormick Rice and broke her daughter's arm out there. So we gotta question, man, who is in control of Martin Luther King Day and his image? Who's making the money?
Right.
And, man, for too long, man, the black community, man, we invent this and make that, and then they come in and co-opt the image and everything, and they making the money off of our image, and that's what they doing with Martin Luther King, and that's why it ain't no soul out there no more.
Now, Brother Hashim, you know, you're a native of Chicago. It's your first time, I believe, at a Martin Luther King parade here in Denver. What were your thoughts?
Well, as you said and stated, I'm from a city where Martin Luther King said he never experienced racism the way he experienced it, and that is Chicago.
Hello.
And coming to Denver, the reason why I was at the Martin Luther King parade in the first place, I submitted a poem on the tribute to Martin Luther King. And my poem won, and they asked me to perform it at the parade yesterday, and it was very cold. But the fact of the matter is, I was born a year and 4 months after Dr. King departed. And I was born in '69, and that's a year where it's a median between the old and the youth.
Right.
And the youth wanna know something. They want to know why we still dreaming.
Right.
Whether Anglo-Saxons support the Dr. King cause or not, whether blacks have forgotten about the dream or not, the youth want to know why we still dreaming.
Right.
I mean, 69, 68, and as I do my research on Dr. King, and it goes into what you were talking about, we like to talk about the softer side of things.
Right.
You know, Anglo-Saxons, Europeans, white people, whatever you want to call them, or Uncle Toms, or prominent black leaders who sat down for commercial dollars, as you say. They anything we start that's prominent, they like to take over, rename to make it safe, so to speak. So there's really no change, or let me change my rhetoric. There's really no revolution. So the object is, well, let's get in before they start waking up. Let's keep them dreaming.
Right.
So the solution is rebellion on the youth behalf. And as I went to the parade, I watched several from the mayor. What's his name? What's y'all man name?
Hickenlooper.
Hickenlooper. He spoke.
He's a hick that will loop you. I'm trying to tell you. That's the truth.
Wow.
I got that from Brother Earl Armstrong out there.
I'm not negating. I don't know him, but it was more on Martin Luther King birthday, whatever. It was more Caucasians representing him on the podium, on the news from a public standpoint. And what shocked me, the keynote speaker was Caucasian, and when he got on the microphone, not only was it below weather, but it was a dull, boring speech to where I had to come up after him. And by the time I got there, I wondered who I was performing for. He bored the audience. Brother said there's